WWE was in town for a local house show. We had gotten tickets for it, and my dad and I decided that we were going to go to Gold's Gym because my dad was very heavily into working out, and I was just trying to go into high school. I was 13 at the time. And as we were in there, kind of unknowingly, WWE superstars started coming in. At the time, I was very heavily into WWE. I had just really discovered independence. So seeing these names, it was a very big deal for me. And then lo and behold, Brodie Lee, Luke Harper, he came in. And I remember just being in awe with how huge he was. Very tall guy, especially when you're 13. After a while, I kind of hyped myself up and I decided I'm going to go over, talk to Luke Harper. Very nervous, thinking this man might tear me to shreds. I have a workout notebook with me, just blank sheets of paper. So I decide, you know what, I'm going to take this pen that my dad was writing my workout plans with. I'm going to go get it signed. And I walk over to Luke Harper and very quietly I ask him if he could sign. I think he could tell how nervous I was. And without hesitation, and immediately calmed me down. Just, of course, he would sign it for me. He signed the thing, asked me how I was doing, and I had asked him about workout plans and how I was in high school, and just started spilling out my heart about how I had watched his CZW matches. He sat there, he talked to me for a while, telling me about working out, staying consistent, making sure I went as far as I could at school. And really took an interest in me. And it was just a very wild thing, given that Luke Harper was just such a big name at the time, especially with the Wyatt family. I go back and I notice my dad decides to go up to him. And I'm thinking, great, Dad, like, what are you doing? And my dad went and thanked him just for how nice he was to me. And Luke Harper had said, you have a very nice, young and respectful young man of a son. Those things go a very long way with him. And that he appreciated that I had even gone up to him. And even as he left, he kind of waved to us as he was heading out. You know, that's probably his alone time. And instead, he decided to take time out of his day and engage in a long interaction and really made it feel like I was a very special person. You know, he took his time. So,
well, you are a very special person. And this one, it got me a little bit when I first heard it. Every now and then, something will play. They did a recap in Jacksonville of AEW, and that got me a little bit with Brodie. Someone will tell a story. But just as this guy explained what was happening, I was putting myself in the gym, and I was picturing Brodie. And boy, God, I miss him so much. And I'm glad this kid had a great opportunity to have that experience with Brodie, as a lot of people did. Maybe it took the passing of Brodie for everyone to come out and tell all of these wonderful stories about what a great human being he was, what a great guy he was, how much he loved wrestling, for this caller to say to themselves, oh, I have a story. And it probably just wasn't a one-off. He was just great, but he made my day. It's something I'll never forget. And he was a child. He was a 13-year-old child, and I love the idea that now he's probably a grown-up. I'm very curious as to how his body looks. Is that creepy? In my head, he's not a 13-year-old anymore. He's like a 22-year-old, and he's going to Gold's Gym, and he's working out. I want to know if he kept with the workouts and went as far as he possibly could in school. I also love that Dad was going over, and he was like, Dad, don't embarrass me. And, of course, I'm sure his dad could have cared less who Luke Harper or Brodie Lee was, but I'm sure his dad cared a lot that he was very nice to his son, and I'm sure that meant the world to his father. And he was just doing a good dad thing by thanking the man for being nice to his kid. Also on that subject, a lot of people don't know that there can be a lot of anxiety from the wrestlers in a situation like that. Now, there's some wrestlers who have 8x10s ready to go, ready to sign for anyone, approach anybody. And I don't mean like charge them like some wrestlers on this podcast in the past, but they just want everyone to know that they're a wrestler with a company, and they kind of approach the fans, where there's some of us, and probably a lot of us also, who don't want to embarrass themselves. This is kind of me speaking in a situation like that where I don't know if that kid knows who I am. So I'm not going to approach the kid. It's up to that person to make the approach. Now, at the same time, you're thinking this is their personal time. So someone like me, I'm more than happy to take a picture or sign an autograph, even if I'm working out, just like Brodie, especially for a kid, especially. but we just don't know if you know who we are. I think one of my biggest fears is like a line at the arena, walking into the arena, seeing people wanting autographs, walking over to sign autographs, and people being like, I don't know who you are. That would break my heart. So I'm helping with some etiquette, I think, here. As long as you're like, hey, Mr. Cabana, Mr. Brodie, Mr. Colt, I liked your CZW matches. I have this blank notebook of workouts that my father gave me. Would you please sign it? Once you get that engagement going, then it makes it easier for everybody, I think. And I'm glad you had a great engagement with Brodie. But of course, why wouldn't you? Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go subscribe. And while you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.